let's get into it. As many are saying, we are now at peak inflation. We are we? What are
Yep.
you watching?
No,
And is this really peak? Come on.
no. So this is the grand comedy of it all. Is the idea, the belief that we are at peak inflation. James Bullard came out and said we're probably not there yet. I want you to look at this chart. This is Lycor Commodities, the ETF. Yeah, you see that thing on the far left in June where everybody was saying that we were at peak inflation. Look to the far right. Commodity prices are coming up and they've been creeping up slowly on this market. While
Mm-hmm.
Europe is experiencing this massive energy problem over not just the next 12 months, possibly the duration of the Ukrainian Russian war, which could be 4, 5, 6, 7 years, who knows? You're going to see demand increase. The supply side issues of inflation. Jim Rickards talked about that in the pre-B roll that we talk about before the show. They can't print oil, can't print natural gas, can't print food. Food is going to be a problem this fall. Natural gas prices continue to move higher. All of these things, do not be surprised if the PPI number next month or possibly September is just as elevated as it was in June.
Oh, Garrett, I don't understand why more people don't listen to you. It's kind of sad. I don't know if they just want to be noticed or they want, you look at negative momentum, maybe they want negative attention. I don't know. But speaking of momentum, what is your indicator that you follow to understand when we do reach peak inflation?
I'm going to pay very close attention to the CPI number. I think that the CPI number, the Fed has that preferred figure that they like to watch. By the way, that was on Friday. They released that. Everybody was excited because it came in line with expectations. It was still a 40-year high. I don't understand why people can't understand this. CPI, however, what I like about this is that I like to go back on that old number, what they did in the 1980s. They changed the calculation in 1990. And if you went by that number, CPI would be at an all-time high. Inflation would be at an all-time high. And the government, the idea that these numbers are different, go to the grocery store, go to the retail store, compare the numbers year over year. I track it. 16% is what I'm paying this year for food, fuel, everything else. So I don't believe the CPI number is 8.5. I do the research. I put it in a Microsoft Excel because I'm crazy. 16% is my inflation rate this year.
Wow, 16% is Garrett's inflation rate, well above what we've been getting. Now, we know the Fed is going to try to get inflation back down. They're using their tools to do that. But there is this risk that they could drive us into a recession instead, if we're not already in a recession, whatever the case is. What is that point? And do you see that happening?
I think it's inevitable. I don't believe in a soft landing. I don't believe it's possible. And the reality is, we've never had consecutive prints month over month on the CPI above 5%, where we didn't bring the Fed funds rate above that level. The market needed to hear on Friday what Powell and the rest of the Fed have been saying for 2 months. We have to endure this. It's going to be very, very difficult. While all this is transpiring, while the Federal Reserve is saying we have to raise interest rates, you have Congress and the White House spending money. You have China dropping money from the sky. You have Europe providing subsidies on energy. You have states sending out checks in the next month, month and a half to help people afford gasoline. All of that is inflationary. And it's problematic because the Fed is the blunt hammer. They are going to crush aggregate demand, and they have to push all the excess liquidity out of this market. If they do not do that, and they cut rates, they pivot, what ultimately ends up happening is aggregate demand goes up, supply remains stagnant. At that point, inflation rises. This was the lesson of the 1970s, and Powell said on Friday he is not going to repeat that.